I'm Jane and I'm one of the ambassadors for BDVS with the Resound Group for Women, Voices of Change, and I've come here to share my journey with you today, and thank you for having me. My journey started quite some time ago now, and it lasted for around 5 years, maybe a little bit longer. He was the perfect man when I met him. There were some little signs in the start that I overlooked and didn't see. Love is blind a lot of the time, but towards the end I was a shell of who I used to be. And it was towards the end when there'd been violence against my son and myself several times, but more it was the violence against my son that prompted me to leave and go, enough's enough, because he needs a chance to grow up and I can't have this anymore. And leaving, that was almost like fire or frying pan into the fire, and it was a struggle, to be brutally honest, when I left, because not too many people knew. I'd hidden it, pretty isolated when I left. But BDVS, I contacted them through a referral from a local Brisbane City Council member. Through what I was experiencing, I had my own little business that I was establishing, and unfortunately that was lost as a result of the violence, because I had to leave that with him. So he did that. But I was actually cleaning for a police officer, and I was just a mess this particular day that they were both home, and they were like, "What is going on with you?" And it was them that went, "This is DV, this is domestic violence, this is not okay." And it was that little bit of encouragement that they'd identified that actually helped. And when I'd explained to them about the harm that had been done to my son and what had happened, well, they were pretty intent that you need to go. But just how I left, that was in the hands of the gods, so to speak, because I just didn't know how. With so much tied up, financially, the business, and all that side of it. Where do you even start? But it all comes down to, I think, these little tiny conversations that if you see something that's not right with someone, you've observed it over a couple of months maybe, a few teary sessions here and there, anything out of character, anything out of the ordinary, have that conversation. Have the courage to do so. They're tough conversations, they really are. But sometimes that's what we need, is to have someone have the courage to have that conversation with us. Take us aside, grab us for a coffee. What's really going on here? Yeah, it's having that courage. So when I called Brisbane Domestic Violence Services, the intake officer, or Belinda, she asked me a few questions about my situation and assessed whether I was safe. She was really compassionate from memory, and it was almost like she was the first person to truly listen and believe me that there were some pretty serious things going on for me. And she arranged my first meeting to come in and speak with one of the workers and just find out exactly what was going on and how they could help me further. And it was through that first meeting that I talked to them about my son, who was obviously a lot younger then, and the needs that he might have. And they just wrapped their arms around both of us, which for me at the time was really important for Zach to have that care, I think, and that understanding from someone who would understand him. If he was okay, I would be okay, and that was what was really important. So when I would come in, he would see his support worker as well, and we would both have individual support. That lasted quite some time, that did. He was in for a few times with me, and he gained a lot from that at the time. Yeah. So Belinda approached me with an idea that they'd been having for a support advisory type group. They weren't sure what it was going to look like or how this group would come together, but it was about women coming together to not just educate the community, but it was supportive of each other and share our perspectives to inform different agencies and so forth when they wanted. I use the term victim, but I don't see myself as a victim, certainly not anymore. Sometimes we need to use that, but I don't anymore. I'm on the other side of that and definitely a survivor. For the women out there that are going through anything like this, if there's some way that you can have a little conversation with someone, reach out. If it's safe to do so, call Brisbane Domestic Violence Services, call your local community centre, speak to your local member, speak to someone that is able to get a message through to somehow help you. There's no shame in speaking out about DV. None of us ask for it, none of us plan for it. I can only encourage you to make that call, make that comment. Yeah, reach out.